Boyd, and the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Robson Augusta.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Kath. I am the priest at St. Peter's, Cleethorpes. I'm substituting tonight for Reverend Andrew Race from the Minster, who has had to send his apologies, and it is my privilege to lead you in prayer this evening. Let's pray. Almighty God, I thank you for each person here who is giving their time, energy, and skills to serve the community of North East Lincolnshire. As we gather for tonight's meeting and meet over the coming year, I pray that your Holy Spirit would fill each council member, each person of support staff, and all across the community who they work with. Eternal God, we ask that you would guide all discussion, all business, and all decision-making. In moments when different views and opinions need to be expressed, I pray it will be done with grace and understanding, and that unity will be found not in the need for all to agree, but in the deep desire together to work for the common good of this community. So I pray your wisdom and guidance for all members of the council and all that is done here this evening and in the coming year. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be on you all. Amen.
Welcome everyone to this annual general meeting of the council. A reminder to everyone, please, to make sure that their phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting. Item 1, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence for this meeting?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Apologies for absence have been received by Councillors Brooks, Jervis and Mills.
Item 2, declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members in any item on the agenda for this meeting? Item 3, notice of motion. A notice of motion has been submitted by Councillor Freeston, seconded by Councillor Grice, submitted in accordance with the Council's constitution. Councillor Freeston, you have 10 minutes in which to propose this motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, may I take this opportunity to congratulate you, Madam Mayor, on your appointment to position of Mayor, and of course to Councillor Augusta. It's great to see a younger person taking on such a prestigious role. I look forward to working with you, hopefully as leader, for the forthcoming municipal year. First of all, Madam Mayor, I'd like to talk about the success of reform in these local elections. 2 months of campaigning, 18,000 votes, and 14 seats later, I stand before you with a motion to replace Councillor Jackson as leader and state myself as leader of Reform UK to take North East Lincolnshire in a new, brighter direction. Now, Madam Mayor, we are all in here because we believe in democracy. Tonight is your opportunity to prove that. Because of the way that we elect councillors to this chamber in the electoral by third cycle, it was impossible for us to win an outright majority. But councillors will understand that had all 42 seats been up for election, we would have won 39 of them based on the, well, 39, whatever it is, Madam Mayor, we would have won an absolute stonking majority. And for that reason, I'm pleading with councillors in this room, put your party political differences aside, support our motion, let us take the council in the direction that the voters want us to be in. Now, Madam Mayor, I'm sure the Conservatives in this room will say reform got lucky, they're riding on the national wave. And that is partly true, Madam Mayor. But we can't get away from the fact that the local Conservatives campaigned on their local record of achievements. Indeed, in 8 years, their achievements, they can look to Corporation Bridge, Madam Mayor. They can look to all of the different schemes that have been over time, over budget. Madam Mayor, it's not just an isolated incident. You also then need to look at Save the Freshley Valley. You can look at the libraries where the can has just been kicked down the road. And instead of having a council administration working with those in opposition, we've had a council administration who have been too arrogant to listen to the views of other councillors. Now, I used to sit on those benches until I left 2 years ago based on national issues. But I'm afraid in the last 18 months, I've seen the local Conservatives diminish. And I'm afraid that has culminated in the rather embarrassing and misleading interview that Councillor Dawkins put out with GI Media the other day, where he said the cost of cancelling a 4.5 million scheme is, I quote, about 5 million. Well, first of all, get your numbers right. And number two, if it is indeed 5 million, more than what the cost of the scheme is, whoever it is that signed that contract needs firing. And considering it's your administration that's overseen that, I would keep your head down if I was you. Madam Mayor, I think we all know that that 5 million quote that was given out by Councillor Dawkins was nothing more than misinformation and scaremongering to try and intimidate the councillors in this room into not going for reform. Our proposals with regards to Cleethorpes marketplace pedestrianisation is the same with any proposal. We'll look at what comes before us. We'll look at it through a lens of common sense, value for money and benefit to the taxpayer. I'm afraid I have grave concerns about that scheme, as indeed do many other councillors in this room. But that isn't just isolated to that scheme, is it? It's the way that the Conservative administration have continued over their tenure, the way they put ideas forward, and when they go down a road and they realise they've gone down that wrong road, instead of saying, let's do a U-turn and turn around, they keep going full pelt, 80 miles an hour, because they're too afraid to hold their hand up and say, yeah, we got that wrong, guys. We're going to listen to the opposition councillors. We're going to listen to councillors who know their wards and know where it can have an impact. But there is room for optimism, Madam Mayor. We've got 14 councillors, many of whom have never been involved in politics before, but come with a great credibility and degrees with them in the business world, in the health world. And so whilst we may lack some political experience, I have a political experience, a couple of us do, but the important thing is there's political experience all across this room, and just because I'm putting myself to be leader doesn't mean that I will lead in the same way as previous leaders have. I'd like to think by now opposition leaders know they can contact me at midnight, at 8 in the morning, informally or formally, because ultimately we will serve with one purpose, to make this area better. And for too long now, we've seen decisions that the taxpayers, the members of the public stand there and say, it doesn't make sense, why are they doing it? And opposition councillors, We all say the same thing. I don't know. We ask the question, we get ignored. The power is concentrated in the hands of a few in that cabinet. So, Madam Mayor, you might ask me, you just stood here and criticised what the cabinet have done. What are your plans? How are you going to make this place better? Well, me and my reform team will be looking for growth. We recognise the potential of the renewable energy sector, which some may say conflicts with our national policy. But I'd like to reassure you all that we will look at any business proposition or indeed any proposal, and if it makes sense, if it's going to add growth, then we will support it. Roads and pavements. It was the issue on everybody's lips on the doorstep. I'm not just going to stand here and say the roads are terrible, you should vote for me for change. I'm going to explain how we will change it. So not only will we get on trial a Pothole Pro, we also recognise that that does have its drawbacks. So there's a company in Scunthorpe called the Roadmaster, and they have a machine that acts slightly different, that can do potholes individually rather than long stretches. I'm already booked in to go and have a site visit with them and see how we can bring that here. I'm trying to take a proactive step, trying to take a proactive approach, councillors, and I hope you'll see that and give me some support. And indeed, I would welcome any councillor who would like to come along on that visit, because I want to lead with everybody, take everybody on the journey. We're a no overall control council. We're going to be a minority administration, I hope. So that means we need to work together. People say that minority administrations is a chaos, and perhaps in some councils that's true. But when you've got decent opposition leaders who have a level of respect for each other, it can work, it will work, and I genuinely am confident that this year will work better than previous years, because you've now got a reason to attend full council. How often have you heard me standing here saying, we know what the vote's going to be, there's no point of attending? And all of us experience that. We know that if you've got a massive majority, the cabinet get through what they want. Well, now that won't be the case. We'll come to full council with ideas. You guys can say, oh, don't like that, take that out, we compromise. That's how it should be. Likewise, you can bring ideas and we will compromise. So I think we've got some real good opportunity, Madam Mayor. Money. We've got to be more wise with the taxpayers' money. Reform before I've spoken about the Doge unit. What I'm going to say to you is, gone are the days where you will see grant funding money being spent just because we have to, otherwise we'll lose it. I'll give you an example. 200 or 250,000 pounds on some artwork installations in the town centre, those black spherical things that nobody knows what they actually are. And they say, well, if we didn't spend it, we'd lose it. Well, how about this for an approach? If every council leader wrote back to the government and said, change the conditions that are attached to that grant funding, we don't want it, then maybe they would review it. And then we'd be able to put that £200,000 into our libraries, into sorting our potholes out, into better children's services. But we've got to have principle, and we've got to stand and think of the bigger picture. For too long, people have said it's free money. It's not. Whether it's local council tax money, whether it's business rates, whether it's grant funding, it is all your money and my money. And we've got to take a more strategic and wise approach to it. Safety. The police have actually hijacked my idea here. So I was speaking to the police officer the other day and said, look, I've got a fantastic idea. It's innovative. It's going to be groundbreaking. We own Freshen Place. We'll agree a contract with you. So you have one of our units. We're going to get visible policing on our streets. It will reassure customers. Fantastic. They said, Councillor, we're one step ahead of you. We're looking at doing it. But what I will say is—
1 minute for Councillor Freeston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We've got a commitment from our team that we will put that forward. And finally, your voice. For too long, consultations haven't been worth the paper they're written on. Councillors ask questions just to get kind of nefarious, inappropriate responses back that don't really answer the question. We need to change the way we work. We need to make the public feel as if they can come and speak to their council and things will actually get done. And I promise you, councillors, we may differ politically, but as people, we're probably more similar than what we think we are. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Grice, will you second the motion?
Madam Mayor, I rise to second the motion and reserve my right to speak.
Are there any speakers? Councillor Dawkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight, I want to speak in support of the continued leadership of Philip Jackson, the leader of North East Lincolnshire Council. Over recent years, Philip Jackson has shown strong, determined and forward-thinking leadership for the people of North East Lincolnshire. His commitment to regeneration, investment and improving our communities has all been clear to see. Under his leadership, we're witnessing major projects that will help transform our borough and create opportunities for residents, businesses and visitors alike. In Freshney Place, we're seeing exciting redevelopment work taking place. This includes welcoming new businesses to Grimsby for the first time, Nando's and other businesses that have also come forward and shown great interest in bringing additional entertainment facilities into Freshney Place that we've never seen in this town before. In Cleethorpes, there's been significant progress with obviously the redevelopments of Pier Gardens, Sea Road, Marketplace and the Station Approach project, which is still to come forward, all helping to enhance the appearance, accessibility and attractiveness of the resort to residents and tourists alike. Additional resources have been brought into Cleethorpes that has also improved the overall look and feel of the area, creating a cleaner, more welcoming environment for both residents and visitors. The new management team that will soon be coming into place will further complement the reopening of the TIC, something we're proud to bring forward and help support tourism and strengthen the local economy. We're seeing investment in the Meridian Showground, where capacity has recently been increased from 5,000 to 15,000. This expansion helps strengthen our ability to host larger events and attract more visitors to the area, supporting local businesses and the wider economy. It's also worth highlighting the changes made to events that we've held in Grimsby in recent years. Christmas Light Switch On is one that was now regarded as one of the best on the East Coast. We continue to support and deliver exceptional events across Immingham, Grimsby, Cleethorpes, helping to bring communities together, attract visitors and showcase the very best of our borough. Importantly, this administration has listened to local residents and businesses. Following consultation regarding the Continental Market in Cleethorpes, concerns for local traders were heard and acted upon, and the market being reduced after evidence was shown that it was impacting local businesses. This demonstrates a council leadership willing to engage, listen and respond to the community it serves. Even as recently as yesterday, I held a public meeting with businesses on Seaview Street to discuss how we could continue to support them in these very difficult trading times, challenges that many feel have been made even harder by the decisions of the Labour government. This willingness to engage directly with businesses and residents, exactly the kind of approach that this administration continues to deliver. Leadership is about delivering results, having the vision for the future, making decisions that benefit the wider community. Philip Jackson has demonstrated all of these qualities. For those reasons, I have full confidence in Philip Jackson to continue as leader of North East Lincolnshire Council, and I firmly believe he remains a great asset to the people of the borough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dawkins. I'm going to take party leaders first. We're going to carry on with Councillor Clough, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to you as our new Worshipful Mayor of the Borough. I wish you every success for the year ahead as you serve our communities with dedication and pride. I would also like to pay tribute to the hard-working councillors who lost their seats in the recent local elections. Whatever party we sit in, anybody who puts them and respect. Local government can be demanding, challenging, and at times deeply personal. Those councillors gave their time, energy, and commitment to serving their communities, and I thank them for that. And on a personal note, I would like to give a special thank you to our outgoing members, Sophia Farron, Kevin Shutt, Tim Mickleborough, and Kath Wheatley, for their dedication to the borough over many years. I would also like to warmly welcome all newly elected councillors to this chamber. Regardless of political background, every one of us has been sent here by residents to represent their voices, their concerns and their ambitions for North East Lincolnshire. I hope all members approach that responsibility with seriousness and integrity. I stand here tonight as leader of Labour Group and as leader of the principal opposition. I do so with humility and honesty. The local elections sent a message, locally and nationally, and it is important that we acknowledge that. This group does not shy away from the ballot box. We embraced these elections. We stood united against postponing local democracy because we believe residents have the right to pass judgment on us all when that time comes. And tonight we still stand here united. We are not for sale. We have seen firsthand the damage that backroom deals and political arrangements can do to public trust and local democracy. Residents deserve transparency, accountability and honesty from those elected to represent them. They deserve politics that is conducted in the open, not stitched together behind closed doors. When I first became leader of the Labour group, I set out a vision for a transparent and accountable group, dedicated to public service and rooted in the communities we present. I stand here tonight committed to those exact same principles. Now, let me be clear, national politics may not align Labour and Reform, and there are differences between us politically, but I will not stand in the way of the democratic voice of residents. A clear message has been sent by the electorate, and that message must be respected. It is right that the largest party in this chamber has the first chance to form an administration. And although no party has a clear majority, Reform has the numbers, and we respect their right to put this to a vote tonight. We also note that over the last 5 years, the clear Conservative majority has now gone, and with it, any mandate, as they now find themselves as the third largest party on the council. Councillor Jackson should have done the right thing by stepping aside and seeking a fresh mandate. What matters now is how this council responds. Residents are not interested in political games or point scoring. They want competent services, value for money, safer communities, decent housing, thriving town centres and opportunities for their families. They want councillors focused on the job they were elected to do. As principal opposition, Labour will continue to hold the administration to account robustly and responsibly. We will challenge where challenge is needed and support where support is deserved, and always put the interests of local residents first.
1 minute, Councillor Clough.
Thank you. This council faces significant challenges in the years ahead, but North East Lincolnshire is resilient. Our communities are resilient, and despite political differences across this chamber, I hope we can all recognise the responsibility that we share to serve this borough with integrity, transparency and respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clough. Councillor Downs, as leader of the Independents. Sorry, Councillor Bright, my apologies.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations and best wishes for the forthcoming municipal year. I stand here today as part of a group of 4 independents who were elected on a very simple, very clear promise. People, not politics. 2 weeks ago, the voters handed a clear, unambiguous mandate to one party, electing them in all but 1 seat contested, and most of them by large margins. There's been some talk of coalitions and deals, but that would be an attempt to bypass the ballot box. No other group has a mandate. That is a privilege granted by the voters. In 2024, the Conservative group lost 8 seats. 2 weeks ago, they lost 8 more. This was not a fluctuation in the poll due to national issues. This was a wholesale rejection of the direction we were going in by the people we serve. To use our collective votes to prop up an administration that has been rejected by the electorate would be a betrayal of the very principles we independents were elected on. Our group will not be part of any stock reform coalition. Whether we like the result or not, the mandate belongs to the party that won the most seats. To use our full votes to block the largest party from forming an administration would be to break our promise to the electorate. We said we would put the people first, and the people have chosen the path. We are not here to be kingmakers. We are here to ensure that the voice of the people is heard. If we ignore the result of this election to keep the status quo, we aren't protecting democracy, we're undermining it. My vote for council leader today is not a vote for any specific ideology. I want to make that very clear. It's a vote for democratic legitimacy. It is a vote to respect the will of the people who put us here in the first place. Do I have reservations? Yes, I do. The majority of reform members are newly elected and inexperienced, but I will not prejudge them. They've made a promising start by not putting themselves forward for the chairs or deputy chairs of our scrutiny panels, which is a departure from the habits of previous administrations. This decision is important as it allows for truly independent and effective oversight. All members in this chamber are aware of the voting numbers. It is my sincere hope that we can move beyond the politics of the past and do what is best for the people of this borough. The mandate has been given by the voters, and I expect the next leader to prove that they're up to the task. I will be supporting this motion, and I will also be holding the new leader to account for the commitments he made earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Bright. Councillor Lindley.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. There's no getting away from the fact that Reform did very well in the recent local elections. It's therefore inevitable that we see this motion before us tonight. Reform may well be the biggest party on this council, but let's take a look at how their group balance up. There are 14 members of the Reform group. Of those 14, only 4 have previously served on the council, and none of the 4 have ever held senior cabinet positions. The remaining 10 have never served on North East Lincolnshire Council at all, and therefore don't even have the experience of sitting on a scrutiny committee, let alone cabinet. And yet, in Councillor Freeston's insatiable desire to become leader, he somehow believes that he can form an effective administration from his group members. I don't believe he can. I clearly recall all of those Reform members with previous council experience sitting in this chamber and hardly ever speaking at all for the entire terms of their office. Not the sort of qualities you look for in a councillor, let alone a cabinet member. Yet we're being asked to let Councillor Freeston take control and form a minority administration, even though we don't know who's he going to have on his cabinet and what portfolio holders they'll be responsible for. How are we as members expected to make decisions on leadership when we don't even know what that leadership looks like? And would that leadership be any better than the arrangements that we currently have in place? But to Councillor Freeston's credit, he is acknowledging the effective leadership of the current administration. Point 3 of the motion states that the council note, and I quote, to ensure that the authority continues to operate with effective leadership, accountability and confidence. Continues. I think Councillor Freeston should be a little bit more diligent, maybe with his wording on his notice of motions. This Conservative administration is delivering on its pledges and want to continue doing so. Pledges that we've been communicating to residents of North East Lincolnshire in the form of a plan for the future, a plan for opportunities, job creation, economic growth and sustainability. And where's Reform's plan? It's pretty clear. They don't have one. And yet, they still believe they are best placed to run this council. Members, it's vital you ask yourselves, do Reform have somebody who not only understands government funding, but is able to deliver a balanced budget? Do Reform have somebody who understands the complexities and changing landscapes of our NHS, including driving forward on improvement programmes for our adult social care? And do Reform have somebody who can hit the ground running with our children's services and ensure that services continue on the current upward trajectory of transformation? The answer is a resounding no. I do not have the confidence that a Reform administration will be in the best interests of the residents of this borough. There's an almighty risk involved if Reform were to take control of this authority and put portfolio holders in place who simply do not have the skills at this time to deliver. Since the election results came out 2 weeks ago, the rumour mill has been running relentless. I did hear on the grapevine that some members were considering abstaining on the vote. Let me be absolutely clear. An abstention on this motion is a vote for a Reform administration. Madam Mayor, members, the choice tonight is simple. You can either support this motion and appoint a Reform administration,
1 minute, please,
which would
Councillor
bring,
Lindley.
thank you, which would bring with it the chaos of inexperience working at this level in local government. Alternatively, you can vote against this motion and appoint Councillor Jackson as leader for a 4th year, as per the mandate passed by this council in 2023. In doing so, Councillor Jackson would continue to deliver stability, which is much needed during a time of so much political and economic uncertainty. In 12 months' time, Reform may very well come back with an overall majority and take control of this council. If they do, then so be it. But at least they'll be in a better position in terms of the experience gained since being elected. Now is not the time to appoint such inexperienced administration. We need stability now more than ever, and appointing a Reform-led council will not provide that stability. I hope members recognise that and do the right thing by not only ruling out abstaining tonight, but voting against this most precarious motion. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lindsay. Councillor Aisthorpe, as leader of the Liberal Democrats, if you would like to speak. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Madam Mayor. I stand to speak on the motion as presented before us. Madam Mayor, nobody can deny the Reform Party had a strong election result. They won the most seats and received the largest single share of the vote. But Madam Mayor, when members talk about respecting the public vote, that should also include respecting the fact that this chamber still contains a range of political voices and elected to represent residents across the borough. And in a chamber with no clear overall control, leadership should be about more than just securing the numbers for a single vote on the night. This is why, Madam Mayor, on behalf of the Liberal Democrats, I contacted every group leader and suggested we all sit down together around one table to see whether some common ground and stability could be found. Because whatever our political differences, residents still expect this council to function, decisions to be made responsibly, and councillors to work constructively where possible in the interests of the borough. Unfortunately, Madam Mayor, those wider cross-party discussions never happened. Instead, it appears the focus very quickly became on smaller group discussions rather than bringing the whole chamber together. And ultimately, that is the choice each group is entitled to make. But, Madam Mayor, it is disappointing because towards the end of the last council term, we had at least started to see more councillors putting party politics aside and working together on major issues affecting the borough. That included all political groups coming together to support North East Lincolnshire remaining a standalone unitary authority during months of local government reorganisation discussions and planning, as well as every group from across the chamber contributing successfully towards shaping and agreeing a balanced council budget. Under the current circumstances, Madam Mayor, that should have been built on, not abandoned. And I think residents will rightly question how some parties can publicly talk about unity and putting people before politics and having discussions with all groups while privately narrowing discussions down into smaller political arrangements behind the scenes. The Liberal Democrats' position remains that we will work constructively with anyone where it genuinely benefits residents and the borough. With only 3 Liberal Democrat councillors, our votes would not change the outcome of this leadership election either way. But stable and strong leadership is not about who has the numbers tonight. It is about how you choose to lead afterwards. And based on the direction we have seen taken since the election, that is not an approach we feel able to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Aisthorpe. Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to you and Councillor Augusta. A difficult 2 weeks this has been for everybody, and what a self-obsessed group of people we must sound based on those soundings off that we just had from some of my colleagues. Madam Mayor, I voted for Angela Greenfield, who stood as a candidate for Independent Yarborough on the 7th of May. My team lost. Reform won. This was the experience of many other wards where the message from residents was overwhelmingly in favour of a Reform-led council. It's not for me to deny them their wish, and so I rise to support this motion. Let me talk about residents of the Yarborough ward. My friends and my neighbours are not stupid. They're not racists. They're not many of the other charges that are laid at the door of people who support reform. They turned out in numbers. People I don't see because they leave for work before I do, and they get home after I do. I've done those hours when I was building my career before there was the internet, when there was no work in town and I had to look after my family. When they come home, they want to drive around the town, but they can't because it's glued up and full of potholes. They want to cross Corporate Apron Bridge, but they can't because it's shut. They want to wander down Victoria Street, but they can't because it's blighted with antisocial behaviour and it has few shops of interest. They want to go to the library, but they can't because it's closed. They want to go to Steele's for their tea, but they can't get because of the works. They want to sit peacefully in Riverhead Square, but they can't because it's been dug up again. They want to send their kids to schools that aren't falling down. They want to see their tax spent wisely, but it isn't because it's going on interest repayments. Voting against that isn't stupid. It isn't a national issue. It's a local failure. It's a series of them. In the last week, I've witnessed politics in full flow. People who are meant to be impartial, lobbying to prop up the cabinet that landed us in this position, Madam Mayor, and fighting a negative campaign against Councillor Freeston and his new councillors, many of whom I don't know, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you. And also I'm looking forward to working with the people who are in here already. Some of the councillors are new and inexperienced, some are very experienced. All of my colleagues have been handed this opportunity by the public, and it's our job to work together. This doesn't mean doing deals for seats on committees. Those members who've been involved in those sorts of discussions need to look themselves in the mirror and ask themselves whether they choose people or politics. It's also not lost on me that Councillor Jackson or alternative scrutiny chairs are all Conservatives. Once again, it shows his desire to lock out any debate or constructive challenge from scrutiny. This is not my wholehearted support for reform. I'm not joining reform anytime soon, far from it, even if they'd have me. But I sincerely hope that I'll be given the opportunity to act as a critical friend to the portfolio holder for health and adult social care later, using my industry and 35 years of experience in the sector. That's what we're here for. Bring those skills, bring that experience. Some of their ideas are very good. Some need change. Some are bad. Like every group, we're only human beings just trying to do our best. But I'll end by thanking Councillor Freeston for reaching out on an issue by issue basis already to understand more about problems that are only now appearing on his radar. So for me, people might say he's inexperienced, and he probably is, but he's passed the first test of leadership by showing he's got two of these and one of these, and long may that continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Councillor Sawkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations on your appointment. I promise I won't take up too much of your time, which I'm sure would be welcomed by all sides of the chamber. So I rise to support this motion. This is not a small motion by any means, and I fully appreciate the feelings in the chamber will be strong. But this debate did not begin tonight. At last year's AGM, Councillor Clough rightly warned of a growing disconnect between the Conservative leadership and the residents across North East Lincolnshire. She spoke about the need for a more collaborative approach, not a council leadership that imposes decisions on residents, but one that listens, works with communities and earns trust. At the time, that may have sounded like a political warning, but looking at the result residents delivered this year, it now sounds more like a warning that was not heeded. And maybe the Conservative leadership won't be so forthcoming in mentioning the amount of seats they've got this year. The people of North East Lincolnshire voted for change. They voted for a fresh leadership, stronger accountability, and a council that listens more closely to the community it serves. If this chamber refuses to recognise that message, we risk giving residents the impression that they have been heard and again not listened to. That would be a mistake, and it would only deepen the frustration many people already feel towards politics locally and nationally. I'm supporting Councillor Freeston because I believe he represents the kind of leadership the council now needs. He's young, ambitious, energetic and determined. Some may mistake this confidence for arrogance, but that's not the person I know. Councillor Freeston is grounded, approachable and genuinely listening to the residents that he serves. He's not here to push a personal agenda. He's here to help deliver change people ask for. For that reason, Madam Mayor, I'm supporting this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sawkins. Councillor Shreve.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It won't surprise anybody that I rise to oppose the notice of motion. A couple of comments off script first. Received wisdom is playing a big part in this chamber tonight about broken economies, about overrun on projects. To be absolutely clear, the vast majority of projects under this administration are on budget and on time. The vast majority. When it comes to money, this council has been running a balanced position for every year since the Conservatives took power. In opening, I would have my congratulations to you, Madam Mayor, on your appointment, and also to Councillor Freeston and Reform for the almost clean sweep at the local elections. It was reminiscent of 2021 when the Conservatives did the same, when you were a member, Councillor Freeston. In our case, it was a complete clean sweep. These two events had one thing in common, in that local issues were swept away by the national mood. In 2021, Boris, the COVID bounce and getting Brexit done, and in 2026, Nigel and boats. Indeed, this time, many residents thought they were voting in a national election. The downside was that both elections, experienced councillors were lost through no fault of their own. It's certainly the case that in 2026, we ran the most effective campaign that we've run for a long time, with all members working tirelessly and on clear local policies. There's my prop again. We are the only group that has published plans for North East Lincolnshire. That said, we could have doubled our efforts and it wouldn't have mattered a jot, because the national mood swept all of that away. We all lost experienced councillors whose loyalty to their wards was sadly ignored. I would like to offer my thanks to all members who lost their seats, irrespective of party. You will be missed. This brings me to the question of no overall control. Conservatives, under Councillor Jackson's leadership, have successfully managed the administration over the last 2 years with no overall control. How did we do this? One, by ensuring that the majority of cabinet decisions went first to scrutiny, the chairs of which were largely opposition members. And just to correct Councillor Henderson, there are two versions of our committee places. If we lose the motion, we will of course be trying to get scrutiny chairs. If we win the motion, we will not. So read them in the right way, please. One, by ensuring the majority of cabinet decisions will go first to scrutiny. Two, by accepting, and it's difficult to accept, that there will be occasions when a notice of motion from opposition parties will win, and leading to the creation. But we've created cabinet working groups, politically balanced, on a number of topics raised by opposition members, and these were largely effective and their recommendations put in process. Three, by working closely with all parties on the truly major decisions, pardon me, Madam Mayor, by working closely with all parties on truly major decisions, council tax an example where all parties had a say in the budget debate and a number of amendments were agreed. Four, by making sure that group leaders meetings were held regularly and to make most of the joint discussions that took place.
1 minute, councillor Shree. Close the door, please. Thank you. Sorry.
I think we'll make an allowance for this in my time. And 5, by listening to residents, which we have done through Cabinet Facebook Live and in-person events, and in the numerous consultations on major projects, including the Cleethorpes Master Plan, where 6,500 people responded to the consultation, and the designs that are being implemented now came out of that consultation after many public consultation events. Councillor Jackson and the current administration are in a unique position to manage in this environment. If Reform wins this notice, I'm sure that they'll come in all guns blazing. We won't be joining the Glebe Club that's in play tonight. I think it's significant that when it comes to scrutiny chairs, there are no Reform councillors being put down as chairs. I wonder why that is. How could although we were asked to...
Could I ask you to wind up, please, councillor Shree?
Sorry?
Could I ask you to wind up, please?
Yes, you can ask me to wind up, indeed.
Thank you.
We were asked before the election and after the election to consider the possibility of a coalition with Reform. How could we be...
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor. Absolute. I can't dispute that enough. Let me just get something right, Madam Mayor. I wouldn't take any defense. Several of them approached me and I said, no, let's get that right, Madam Mayor.
No. You may not be aware of a councillor of Madam Mayor Andrea Jenkins called to both myself and Councillor Jackson on that subject. Let me make the point. How could we be in a coalition with a party whose policies include the total destruction of the Conservative Party? Council, I'm closing now. I'm closing. I was interrupted. Councillor Jackson is a leader who has the skills needed to navigate this difficult period, and with the support of other group leaders and his cabinet, I urge members to recognise this and vote down this notice of motion. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Shree. Councillor Downs.
That's going to take some following, isn't it? So firstly, let me start by saying that when I stood as an independent councillor, Madam Mayor, some 3 years ago, I did so, like my colleagues vote before me, on the basis of people before politics. That principle has guided me in the way I have worked and voted since that day. I always make decisions on their merit, and I do my best to represent those who elected me and put a cross next to my name. Any decisions I make are driven by those who elected me and not by any personal interests. Over the last 3 years, as a group of 1, then 3, then 5, and now 4, the independent group have had to gain support by bringing good, well thought out ideas to the table. We didn't succeed because we had strength in numbers or popularity, but because we were doing the right thing. I am so proud of what the independent group have achieved to date in having that approach. I recognise that moving forward, a fragmented council will be a challenge, but it will not change the way we as a group operate. I and we as a group have already stated tonight, but we will not be bought by offers, deals, arrangements, however other members wish to describe that. We will carry on doing as we have always done and working with everyone, ruling nothing out. Please know that if we achieve something, it's because we've worked hard to do it. Tonight and every time I'm acting in my role as Freshley Ward Councillor, I will be guided by my conscience when I vote. I'm sure there'll be members in here tonight that will try to spin the way the independent group are approaching this decision, but we have no reason to lie to you or to those who voted for us. That's the way I will always vote, with honesty and integrity. And it was clear to us from the outset, disputing what Councillor Raisthorpe claimed earlier, that any communications that we received, it was clear there was no opportunity for a complete cross-party arrangement. And we were clear as a group, we could not back a deal that excluded the now largest group on the council. So as I move forward to thinking who...
Point of order, Madam Mayor. The email that I sent included the Reform Party, and Councillor Freeston, unfortunately, you didn't respond, and I was disappointed about that.
Just a point of personal clarification, I'm talking about an email that was sent to us and not to everybody. So as I move forward of thinking, who do I support for group leader? The one thing I think we can all agree on, sorry, I've lost where I was now due to my interruption. So as I move forward of thinking who I support for group leader, one thing I think we can all agree on is that during the last 4 years, the independents have been on North East Lincolnshire Council. The Conservative cabinet have made things as difficult for us as they could. I could list endless attempts to rubbish our hard work that was never about fun and games, but always about putting people before politics. One noticeable moment I will never forget was their attempts to remove the Freshney ward, backed up by their trio of friends, a poor move that was never in the interest of people of our ward, people of our town, or even members in this chamber, only to them alone. I have sat and watched politics stand in the way of progress, and perhaps so have residents of North East Lincolnshire. The failure, for example, to apologise for threatening our nursery with closure based on lies and deceit won't ever be forgotten either. The staff and families suffered stress and anxiety at the prospect of losing their jobs, and no deal could have saved them. But common sense prevailing and the right outcome, would it really have hurt to have said sorry? Further to that, never ever have any of the Conservative groups supported me on my goal to stop the abhorrent destruction of our Freshney Valley, the main reason that I'm here today. In fact, they've done all they could to delay the local plan, ignoring the voice of those thousands of people who responded to consultations they claimed earlier to listen to. So when I sit here deciding to support Councillor Freeston or Councillor Jackson, I have genuinely spent a long time deliberating and weighing things up. I've considered the pros and the cons, realising I've probably got 1 year left to do what I need to do. I am taking this decision seriously. I like to make decisions based in fact, and the fact is that whether we like it or not, in the May elections of this year, the Conservatives received some 7,137 votes. Add to that even the Liberal Democrats of 2,676.
1 minute, Councillor Downs.
And the total votes of just 9,813. Reform received some 18,193, just shy of half of the number cast in the election. Suggesting we ignore this for the benefit of residents is undermining their conviction that they made when they made this choice. I am not here to do that. I know there are risks on both sides, reform or inexperience, we don't know what we'll get. But as I see it, we've got the opportunity to work now with 13 or 12 new councillors. And to me, that may help me as I shout loudly to stop overdevelopment and urban sprawl and cry for people before politics. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Downs. I've got 3 speakers left to hear, and then I'm going to suggest we go to a vote. Thank you, Councillor Jackson. So the next speaker is Councillor Croft.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations to you and the Vice Chair. Hope you have a good year and welcome to the first meeting. What a first meeting. And welcome to all the new councillors. I actually discussed this motion and I was a lone voice and I said, let it happen. I also did congratulate Councillor Freeston on a clean sweep near enough, because I've never been in something like that on election night and it was horrendous, but well done to the party. I actually wanted his political party to run the council. To residents who voted Starmer out and will stop the boats, all that propaganda, they'd actually reap the rewards and realise having a very low experienced cabinet and administration won't change anything. It won't get regeneration. You know, it'll do very little because it's already set for a full year. Your budgets are already set. You're going to be very difficult to change anything. However, if you do succeed, best of luck and I hope to work with you. Yeah, I've just heard Councillor Freeston, one of his big things, pothole machine. Sorry about this, Councillor Freeston, but I mentioned this over half a year ago to the scrutiny panel. They've got prices, they're looking at it in Scunthorpe, they're looking at sharing it. It's nothing new. Bring things new to the party and we might move on. I've looked what happened, you know, your experience, and I did actually feel sorry for you. I would basically, you know, it's going to be a one-man one-man show. Did I say puppet? Sorry, I meant Muppet. But anyway, Madam Mayor, I actually witnessed a new member of his party carry out an act at the parish council meeting, basically accusing all the parish councillors of being corrupt, only to be then overheard saying, I was told to say that to get a rise. Is that what we want as an administration? To me, it's ridiculous. Then going on social media and saying that he was at the meeting as a resident. You're a ward councillor, man. Realise it and step up to it. So, Councillor Freeston, just going forward, please advise them in public space they are a ward councillor. You're not a resident. Code of conduct must apply. Madam Mayor, as thousands of residents seem to understand that local politics are not about national propaganda, I'm against the motion, and it looks like I'm going to stand up for the Independents, Liberals and Labour by actually voting against this motion. Please think about it very carefully. You are there for your residents. If you want them in, then your vote will actually bring them in. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Croft. Councillor Emerson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations on yourself and Councillor Augusta on your new positions, and thank you for all members for the condolences to my predecessor, Lindsay McLean. I've been given this motion before me that I'm just expected to approve and be the yes man to that neither both my group leader and I have been communicated on. Madam Mayor, my group leader has reached out to all groups and in return has had a mixture of being shunned, silenced or being told we're not needed. Apologies if I repeat anything what other members have already said. Madam Mayor, members, I'll start with some positive points. I strongly believe Councillor Freeston to be a very articulated, well-spoken and confident with a no-nonsense approach person, attributes I've witnessed, and I've often thought, I wish I could be more like that, or I wish I had the charisma and confidence that he has. Some things he said and done in the past have been impressive and I've agreed upon, such as community engagement and participation, some highlighting of crime and antisocial behaviours, and his forthright views and explanations on HMOs. In addition, his long experience is also a strong contributing factor to be considered for this post. However, Madam Mayor, expecting me to vote for him with no communication as discussed doesn't give me much faith. In my 2 years as an elected member and my involvement with the council beforehand, he has never ever spoken to me. Therefore, I don't know what he's about, his personality, mutual intellects, interests, strengths, weaknesses and overall general persona. Madam Mayor, approximately 4 times we've crossed paths and we've simply just given each other a blokey nod and all right, nothing more, nothing less. Moving on, Madam Mayor, as a Liberal Democrat, I'm fully in favour of democratically elected proportional representation, yet here we are with the Reform Party winning 45.9% of the votes, yet gaining 93.3% of the seats, statistics provided by Make Votes Matter. Hardly a majority, and given the fact that 54.1% of the electorate voted for somebody else, especially within my own ward of the East Marsh. Madam Mayor and members and residents of the whole borough of North East Lincolnshire, the key burning question is, what exactly is Councillor Freeston and his party all about locally? Literature was sent out all about national issues and just reiterating spiralling council costs, potholes and everything that's wrong with the current administration. No manifesto, no structure, now to deal with and improve local issues, and just a small snippet of some material, briefly outlining who the candidate was and about their personal lives. It's inevitable that whichever new administration will be in charge after tonight, they're going to be picking up the ongoing failures, the ongoing projects, the ongoing finances, and will have the current grant money to spend before applying for any more, and before they can even be looking at new ideas and proposals in a timely and cost-effective manner. Madam Mayor, it's a fact, not my own personal opinion, that a deal has been done. It's telling and obvious, given the nominations for this evening's postings. Scrutiny and committee chairs have been evenly had nominations from Labour and independent elected members across the board, and no Reform member has put themselves forward, and there are no Reform member names on any committee posting. Why is this? It's obvious that a deal has been struck. You vote for us into council leadership and administration with the cabinet positions, and then we'll let you have all the scrutiny and committee chairs.
Point of clarification, Madam Mayor. Point of clarification, Madam Mayor. That is an unfounded accusation. I'd ask you to ask the member to withdraw that, unless he's got evidence otherwise.
I'm afraid I have no evidence on either point of view, so I'd like Councillor Emerson to continue, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. Can we ask for advice from the Monitrust? Can we make unfounded accusations without evidence and then not have to be withdrawn? Because I will note that for future use.
Thank you, Councillor Freeston. Members enjoy a degree of qualification. If they reasonably believe it's true, then they can say it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Coming on to my next point, I stand to be corrected, Madam Mayor, but I highly doubt it. It's likely tonight we could be given the sequel of the 1988 Disney film, Oliver and Company. I'm sure this will be a completely different setup, structure and composition of council if the four-figure allowances weren't involved, Madam
One
Mayor.
minute, Councillor
Power,
Wilson.
glory and money isn't everything. So if Councillor Freeston really wants his position and believes the right choice that he needs it, sell it to me, convince me and argue his case and intentions here to me and all the chamber. Otherwise, I'm likely to abstain. Madam Mayor, communication works two ways. Over to you, Councillor Freeston. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Well, not quite just yet. We've got Councillor Callison, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And congratulations on your post and also the deputy. Madam Mayor, I don't know how to start this one. I've been here before and I'm pleased to be back. I'm standing in this chamber tonight and I can remember many very, very good councillors, people with dignity, people that I've stood against, people that not only know the two residents of that family, they also know the dog when at the polling station, they know the name of the dog because there was hard work in. They put the time in, they put the effort in, and they got to know the residents. I take some of this, what I believe, okay, in my opinion, is waffle from the Tory party. If they're aiming at certain four councillors that didn't do anything when they were in, or when they were in the council, then possibly they're right. Because those councillors like myself sat and listened, had the ability to listen and learn without having to spout off and do what they wanted me to do. At times, I was bound to for party for their ruling, okay, as a group. But no, it's fog. We're looking at fog here. I would like to thank the Tories for actually their literature that went out. Some of their literature had more about reform than we put on our actual own leaflets. You made the electorate aware of us because you used our name that many times. So you brought us to the forefront and you added to our votes. Excuse me, I have the chair. Thank you, Madam Mayor. You know, they're trying to poke the lion. All right? If they're saying that we have any experience, put your hands up, councillors in this chamber, who didn't start with any experience. Put your hands up. You all did. And you've all learned. And you've all took it on board. And now you're good at it. I could name councillors in this chamber right now, but I won't embarrass them, that actually know more than the leaders, especially the Constitution. So we do learn, and we will learn, and we will have the best training possible, and we will work alongside with officers of the council. We will listen to them. We will be advised by them, educated by them, and we will learn what the procedures are before we go out there willy-nilly making offers of, yes, we can do this, when we know there's procedures. That's something that's not been mentioned in this chamber tonight. Procedures that officers have to go through to get where they are, and then it has to be lawful. So we do know something, and we are not that irresponsible party that actually has 10 and only 4 that's been here before. The business people, we've got doctors, we've got business people, we've got shopkeepers, we've got all sorts that keep their accounts up to date and never been solvent. So they know about wisely spending money. We are the party to roll this. We will take a little bit of a time because we are interested in learning about it. We want to put right. I didn't promise anything on the doors of my electorate. In fact, I was quite upset when they said, you're all the same. You're all the same, you councillors, all you politicians.
1 minute, Councillor Callison.
Thank you. Well, I'm not. Now you've shaken the lion, the lion will roar. I'm leaner, fitter, right, and meaner. You want to hear me, you will hear me in this chamber. It won't be good news for you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all I have to say.
Councillor Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, congratulations to you, Madam Mayor and Councillor Augusta, on your election. Look forward to working with you in the forthcoming year. And can I first of all welcome the new councillors to this chamber, and also commiserate with all those who lost their seats from other parties in this chamber 2 weeks ago tonight, in fact, when we had election, wasn't it? Madam Mayor, I've been involved in, well, I first joined the Conservative Party in 1976. So I've seen a lot of comings and goings in politics. I first got elected to the old Grimsby Borough Council in 1984. And I've been a councillor ever since then, apart from 7 years in the middle between Grimsby Borough Council and North East Lincolnshire. But I've been on this council since 2003. So I've seen the politics ebb and flow in all sorts of different directions over that time, and I'm realistic enough to recognise how things are going to go tonight, particularly having heard various people stand up and speak. I just want to comment on one or two things about the election campaign, and also some of the comments that Councillor Freeston made in his proposal. I think regardless of what Reform tried to claim, it was very much the result of a national campaign, and we saw it happening up and down the country. It's not just in North East Lincolnshire, where Conservatives lost, and Labour lost lots of seats. It was happening all over the country, particularly in the north of England. And of all the literature I received through the post from Reform, there was only one leaflet that came from my local candidate. I live in Wolds Ward. Only one leaflet came through from the candidate there, which sniped from the sidelines, made criticisms of what we were doing, but there's nothing in there about what Reform were going to do to put any of those problems right. And indeed, a very early leaflet that came out was this one from Reform, which says our council is broken. Well, I didn't see anything that came through the letterbox, not my letterbox, and nobody else, I don't think, about how, if the council is broken, which it clearly isn't, how Reform are going to mend it. And we've not heard anything about that tonight either. And most of the letter that came through was from Nigel Farage, and he was talking about get rid of Keir Starmer and stop the boats. Now, neither of those are within the remit of this local authority. We can't do either of those things. So really, that's why our campaign was very much focused on local issues. And once again, Madam Mayor, we were the only party that put out a full manifesto which talked about what we've been doing since 2019 and the work that we will be continuing to take forward for North East Lincolnshire. Madam Mayor, Councillor Freeston has been a member of this council for 8 years. He's not new. He was in our group for 6 years, so I do know him quite well. I know where some of the bodies are buried. But also, Madam Mayor, I would have expected somebody who's been on this council for 8 years to have come up with a plan as to how he was going to mend this broken council. You should know enough about it after 8 years to do that, but that didn't appear in any of the leaflets. All it was just criticism, sniping, which of course appeals to a certain sector of the electorate, but there was nothing about how he was going to move things forward. So I'd just like to pick up on one or two other things that were said. He talked about a new, brighter direction.
1 minute, Councillor.
Thank you, but we're not clear what that will be. He talked about common sense, value for money, doing things that are best for the community, which is what we've been doing as an administration since 2019. And he talked about the best use of taxpayers' money, which again, we've been trying to ensure. And I'll just finish off, Madam Mayor, by talking about one or two of the things that Reform have been doing nationally since they took control of 10 English councils last year. They promised to slash council tax and cut council waste. They've not been successful in doing that in any council. In fact, they've increased the council tax in every council.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. Is this relevant to the motion? Because we didn't say that we.
Clearly, Councillor Jackson thinks it is.
Or
Councillor
can
Priestley.
we ask for the monitoring officer's opinion?
We'd like him to continue.
Yes, thank you. I think the way people have performed in the past is a good indication of how they'll perform in the future. So they failed to cut any significant amount of council waste because it isn't actually there. They failed to slash council tax. In fact, in every single one of their councils, they've increased council tax, in most cases almost by 5%. And they've got they have the accolade in Worcestershire County Council of having the highest council tax increase in the country of 9%. This is the way they'll be performing in North East Lincolnshire, I'm sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jackson. I'm going to ask Councillor Besant to speak, and then I'll go to Councillor Grice for his right to reply.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to you and the Deputy. I'm really pleased to see a younger person, a little bit younger than me, maybe. To be honest, I've been around here since 2003. And in 2003, believe you me, there was a lot more newer councillors than there is around this table. They took places on the cabinet, they took scrutiny chairs. I took a scrutiny chair at that point. And I've seen many, many forms of administrations. And it sometimes takes people working together. And to be honest, I think that makes a good administration when you work together. I hope Councillor Freeston is right, that he will work with every member of this chamber. I hope he is, because it's needed, and work with every officer of this council. We cannot go backwards again, we can't. Particularly in the area I'm interested in children's. We cannot go backwards. And really we've got to drive that forward for the future of this town. But coming on to campaigning, I've had people say it only started 2 months ago. To win an election, you start 4 years before you do. And that was my motto, it was, in the East Marsh and my ward colleagues. We deliver leaflets all year round. Maybe that's the reason why you couldn't beat us in East Marsh. And also the fact, on your leaflets, there was very, very little, except for one nice sentence. Councillor Besant continues to do some good work, but he wants replacing by a younger female. I didn't even know who that younger female was until election night. I didn't, because I'd never even seen a picture on one of our election leaflets, on one of your election leaflets. I find it bizarre, I do. You're frightened to sell yourself in some respects. All you've got to do is sell the national stuff. And to this is a local election. The residents got it right in the East Marsh. They knew it was a local election. Both voted for the guy who gets things done. They voted for the guy who gets things done. That's all I've got to say, Madam Mayor. And you've got to be very careful in the future.
Thank you very much, Councillor Besant. Councillor Grice, your right to reply.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, congratulations on your appointment to office and to yourself, Deputy Mayor. On May the 7th, people of North East Lincolnshire came out in their numbers and voted for change. They voted for reform. Across our borough, residents sent a clear message that they wanted a new direction for this council, for our communities. Reform gained 14 seats in that election, making huge gains across North East Lincolnshire and showing just how strongly people felt about our borough. Residents are tired of wasteful spending, tired of excuses, and tired of feeling ignored. They want safer communities, potholes repaired, cleaner streets, support for local businesses, and pride restored in our town once again. I would like to tell you about Gladys. Gladys is a resident in Haverstow Ward. I met her during my campaign when I was knocking on doors. She told me she had voted Conservative all of her life and had never changed her vote. Gladys is a quiet lady who lives alone following the passing of her husband 5 years ago. She keeps herself to herself and enjoys attending a few local community clubs, and had never felt before the need to contact her counsellor for support. Last year, however, she faced an issue with a local school that built a playground so close to her property and at such a height that it began to intrude on her privacy. She contacted the school and raised her concerns, but was quickly hushed away. Unsure where to turn next, she contacted her ward councillor, seeking advice and support. Instead, she was met with rudeness and told there was nothing that could be done and to simply live with it. As you can imagine, Gladys was not expecting miracles or an instant solution. She understood that issues may not be easily resolved. What she wanted was guidance, understanding, and someone willing to listen and show her care. After a lifetime of voting Conservative, Gladys chose to vote Reform for the very first time, because she hopes that if she ever needs a counsellor again, that they will be there to listen, they will be supportive and treat her with respect. Stories like Gladys are not rare. Throughout this campaign, Reform councillors across North East Lincolnshire heard countless stories from residents who felt ignored, unheard and disconnected from those elected to represent them. The result on May the 7th elections did not happen by accident. They were the result of years of frustration from residents who simply wanted their votes heard, their voices heard. And that is why people voted for change. Tonight's motion is an important moment for this council. Tonight, members of this chamber have the opportunity to respect the message sent by residents at the ballot box and support a new administration that is ready to get to work for the people of North East Lincolnshire. We entered this election speaking about common sense, accountability and transparency, and putting local people first. Those are the values we will continue to stand for. This is not about politics for politics' sake. It's about delivering for the residents who expect action, expect this council to focus once again on the issues that matter mostly to ordinary working people and families. If entrusted with leadership, this council tonight, Reform councillors will work hard every day to justify the faith people have placed in us.
1 minute, please, councillor.
Thank you, Mary. We will listen to residents, be visible in our communities and ensure taxpayers receive value for money. We want to see North East Lincolnshire that is a clearer, safer, more ambitious and once again proud of what it can achieve. To the residents watching tonight, thank you for putting your trust in us. This is only the beginning and we are ready to work hard. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Freeston, for your right to reply. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I'd like to reply to Councillor Emerson. Genuinely, it's quite moving when you made them remarks and I didn't know where to look. And it's nice for somebody to say something nice to somebody else. And too often we've tried to put others down. And I take that in hopefully the spirit you intended it. And I will say to you, let's meet for a drink and actually get to know each other, because we should be nice to one another. And the things you said will stick with me. I'm quite a confident person, but everybody has doubts and everybody questions themselves. Am I up to this? So I appreciate it. To the Conservatives, of whom many of you have served before, you just don't get it, do you? You just don't get it. You're like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend that you've been broken up with, and you're trying to gaslight us into telling us, no, babe, you're to blame. It's not me. Deflect, deflect, deflect. You ran on a local manifesto of your record of achievement. You were dumped. You were rejected. And I'm feeling a little bit harsher because I'm trying to get it through to you. You just simply don't get it. And I thought maybe you did, but tonight is evident that you didn't. Councillor Lindley, you said that people don't know what they were voting for. People aren't stupid. People know what they're voting for. Yes, there will be an element, as I said in my original speech, of national issues. But equally, when you go on the Grimsby Telegraph, or there's another outlet that I won't mention, people say, get the Tories out locally. They know what they're voting for. And to say that is just out of touch. To everybody who is considering supporting me tonight, or indeed not getting in the way of democracy, I appreciate it. I genuinely will do my best to repay the trust that you put into me and my colleagues. We will make mistakes, but please try and pick me up on them informally at the start so we can actually do something about it, rather than waiting until a formal meeting to try and catch me out for the press or whatever. I'd rather just kind of hit issues head on and we work together. And this year we've got a massive opportunity to do that. And to the 3 Lib Dem councillors, Steve, Councillor Bazant, you've done this for a long time, and many people do have respect for you. Indeed, when I was in the East Marsh, they said, I'm voting for that Steve bloke. People didn't know who the Prime Minister was, but they know who Steve was. So like his politics, like him as a person, you've got to admire how he's taken the East Marsh and made it his own. Madam Mayor, I won't take any more of the time. I think I've hit the points. Just finally, people say we have no plan. On the doorstep, we convinced voters. I knocked on over 2,000 doors myself, my colleagues the same. We're putting forward a manifesto, a contract with the people that we will actually stick to. Everything that comes before us will be dealt with in a common sense, value for money, and will it benefit the taxpayer? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Prieston. So in accordance with the Constitution, I'll now take a recorded vote on the motion. If the motion is successful, Councillor Prieston would be appointed as leader of the council for a 4-year term of office. Should the motion fail, then Councillor Jackson would continue as leader of the council for the 4th and final year of his term of office.
Members, can I just remind you, when you're responding to the Chief Executive with a recorded vote, that you turn your microphones on to say for, against or abstain. There was a recorded vote in alphabetical order.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I now read out the names of the councillors. If you're voting for, say for. If you're voting against, say against. Those who are abstaining, say abstain. Councillor Aisthorpe. Councillor Augusta.
Abstain.
Councillor Batson, K. Councillor Batson, P.
For.
Councillor Bissant.
Abstain.
Councillor Bonner.
For.
Councillor Boyd, Madam Mayor.
Against.
Councillor Braisted.
For.
Councillor Bright.
For.
Councillor Callison.
For.
Councillor Charlesworth.
For.
Councillor Clough.
Abstain.
Against.
Councillor Clough.
Clough. I'll get to you in a second, Councillor Croft. Councillor Clough.
Abstain.
Councillor Crofts.
For. Against, sorry. I did say I liked him.
Okay, members, can we
continue, please? Chief Executive is taking the vote. Thank you.
Councillor Dawkins.
Against.
Councillor Downs.
For.
Councillor Emerson.
Abstain.
Councillor Freeston.
For.
Councillor Goodwin.
Abstain.
Councillor Grice.
For.
Councillor Haggis.
Abstain.
Councillor Henderson.
For.
Councillor Hudson.
Against.
Councillor Humphrey.
Abstain.
Councillor Jackson.
Against.
Councillor Kasmarek.
Abstain.
Councillor Lindley.
Against.
Councillor Main.
For.
Councillor Mill.
Abstain.
Councillor Morland.
Sticks in my craw, this, Madam Mayor, because I know what it's going to lead to. We're in a rock and a hard place.
Councillor
Abstain.
Morland.
Abstain.
Councillor Oliver. Aye.
4.
Councillor Oliver N.
4.
Councillor Parkinson.
Against.
Councillor Patrick.
Abstain.
Councillor Russell.
4.
Councillor Sawkins.
4.
Councillor Shreve.
Against.
Councillor Swinburne.
Against.
Councillor Taylor.
4.
Councillor Wilson.
Abstain.
Councillors, while the officers are counting the votes, can I please just remind you that when we're going through these procedures, we need you to be silent, and same goes for the audience because we can't always hear. So if you can just bear with us when we're doing this and just maintain those requests, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the result of the recorded vote, for 17, against 9. We had 13 abstentions. The motion is carried and Councillor Freeston is now leader of North East Lincolnshire Council.
I would now like to move to a brief adjournment of the meeting for 15 minutes to permit officers to circulate details of deputy leader and cabinet appointments. When we return, we'll come back to item 4, election of the deputy leader. Thank you.
the Borough of North East Lincolnshire, Councillor Marion Boyd, and the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Robson Augusta.
Item 4, Deputy Leader of the Council and Cabinet Membership. It is for the Leader of the Council to appoint a Deputy Leader and the Cabinet. This is not a matter to be voted upon. Leader, we will now confirm your appointments. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So my own portfolio will be Leader of the Council and portfolio holder for Strategic Renewal, Delivery and Place Leadership. My Deputy Leader, Councillor Samuel Grice, will be Deputy Leader and portfolio holder for Children and Education. Councillor Nigel Oliver will be portfolio holder for Health, Wellbeing and Adult Social Care. Councillor Simon Taylor will be portfolio holder for Finance, Resources and Assets. Councillor Callison will be portfolio holder for Environment and Energy Security. Councillor Paul Batson will be portfolio holder for Housing, Infrastructure and Transport. Councillor Sawkins, portfolio holder for Safer and Stronger Communities. Councillor Tanya Braisted, portfolio holder for Culture, Heritage and the Visitor Economy. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So on to item 5, review of the Constitution. This is a report from the Council's Monitoring Officer, including recommendations from the Constitution Working Group. Leader, will you move the recommendations, please?
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I'm starting into role here. I do indeed rise to move, Madam.
Thank you. Deputy Leader, will you now second?
Madam Mayor, I second.
Thank you. Any speakers? Okay. I'll now take the vote on this matter. All those in favour? Thank you, that's unanimous. Anyone against? No. Item 6, the annual scrutiny report. This is a report of the Council's Statutory Scrutiny Officer submitted annually to the Council's AGM. Leader, will you move a proposal, please?
I rise to move the proposal, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Leader, will you now second?
Madam Mayor, I second and reserve the right to speak.
Madam Mayor, presumably the Chamber can take it that the proposal is merely to note the annual scrutiny report. Obliged.
Any speakers? Sorry, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think the scrutiny report is to be welcomed. I admit I was initially confused about the blank pages at the back, but I've used them for my notes, so I've been quite resourceful. I think it's right that we thank all the chairs and all those involved in scrutiny, but I did wonder if such a report might in future be extended to cover some of the other committees. I was on Planning Committee and Standards last year, and there's no report at the AGM of how that went. Similarly, licensing, audit, other committees. So that was a point I thought I'd raise in front of full council. Also, I was slightly bemused as to why the scrutiny report mentions the Executive and Scrutiny Liaison Board, but doesn't really refer back to what that might have said. So I thought maybe another section could be inserted there. And I'm not wishing to create new work for everyone, but I just thought this could be slightly developed and improved upon. So I thought I'd raise it today. The other point I wanted to raise whilst I'm here, because it is relevant potentially to next year's scrutiny report, is that I personally had my first ever motion regarding a planning matter, HMOs, and an Article 4 direction back in, I think it was September of last year, and I'm awaiting a date for the commencement of a relevant select committee to start on that. So I'll mention it here as we come to the new municipal year. I know it was perhaps caught in a queue behind the library select committee, which I observed myself and thought went
Councillor,
quite well.
could you just keep this to the point for us,
Yeah,
please?
so yeah, I welcome the report, but I think given that the council has resolved that an Article 4 direction is overdue, well, now a select committee is overdue. So I hope that this time next year we can be celebrating the progression of the select committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And since nobody else seems to be doing it, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank all members for the work that they did on scrutiny during the past municipal year. As an administration, we did encourage scrutiny to feed back as much as possible to Cabinet. We did ensure that we sent as many reports that were coming to Cabinet to scrutiny before we considered them at the Cabinet meeting. And I have to say, many of the proposals that came back from scrutiny panels were really helpful and really useful. And we did take the opportunity to incorporate most of them into the decisions that have been made by the Cabinet over the past year. So we were listening to scrutiny, we were listening to other elected members. And I'd just like to thank everybody on scrutiny, both elected members and officers, for all the work that they put into what is a very important part of the council's democratic process. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Do we have any more speakers?
Point of information, clarification maybe actually. I thought I just did that when I said thanks to the chairs and all those involved in scrutiny, but there we are. Perhaps Councillor Jackson didn't hear me, that's all.
So we'll move to the vote. All those in favour of receiving the report, please show. That's unanimous, thank you. Item 7, meetings timetable for 26-27. This item sets out the schedule of dates for meetings for 26-27. I now ask the Leader of the Council to move the timetable as set out.
I rise to move the timetable as set out, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brewster. And Deputy Leader, would you second, please?
Madam Mayor, I rise and I second.
Thank you. Any speakers? Councillor Wilson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations to you and your deputy on attaining office. I rise to propose an amendment to the meetings as laid out, and the amendment is basically to move the community scrutiny panel from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. We think this is a sensible proposal. We think that going forward, that it's been an ongoing issue for many a year, that on scrutinies, the people at work have very little choice. You're going round, different, missing out on different scrutinies because it puts pressure on workplaces if you do work. Obviously, if you don't work, if you're retired or otherwise or self-employed, you can work around that. But if you've got an employer, it is very difficult to do that. So we think that the community scrutiny panel, particularly, is for the community. And if people want to come and actually see it, we want people to have that opportunity to see it. And most people do work, so it's not just for the members of the council, but actually give the opportunity for members of the public to come along and actually see the scrutiny panel in action, especially when it's regarding some issues that we've got maybe coming forward that might be of public interest. So in essence, we think that this would be a very sensible amendment to the actual meeting timetable. Thank you very much.
Is there a seconder for the amendment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I rise to second and reserve the right to speak. Thank you.
Very much. So we now take a, sorry, any speakers on the amendment? Councillor Lindley.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a very, very long-standing issue. I think we've gone over this many, many times. And I take on board what Councillor Wilson says in terms of getting the balance right for members to attend meetings. But I think we've got to bear in mind as well, though, that not all members work 9 to 5. They don't all have 9 to 5 jobs. Some work anti-social hours, some work shifts, some work evenings, some work mornings. And I think the spread of meetings within the diary is spread. We have morning meetings, we have afternoon meetings, we have early evening meetings, and of course we have evening meetings. So there's a whole variety of timings which would suit various. Some meetings would suit more members than others. And I think by setting it in stone that we're trying to move towards evening meetings may not be, appetising to all members. So I won't be supporting the amendment. I think I say we've been through this before, and I think we need to acknowledge that not everybody works on a 9 to 5 basis. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lindley. Do we have any more speakers? Councillor Goodwin, and then I'll come round. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to you both. Very proud of you both. I rise to support this motion. It may be now we've got 14 new councillors in this chamber and 14 ranges of ages. And all the argument was previously was not everybody works. Some people don't, so they can come to morning meetings. I believe that most meetings now should be on after 5 o'clock, so people who are working can actually get to the meetings, and we can have a diverse range of councillors coming forward. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Goodwin. Councillor Prieston.
Sorry, Councillor Prieston, you propose you'll have a right to.
Sorry, I wanted to speak on the amendment.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Since I'm not actually sitting on this panel, to me it would seem common sense that we just let the 7 people who are on the panel make the decision. So I'm happy to look at Councillor Charlesworth and Councillor Batson. Give me a thumbs up which way you want to go, whether you want a later meeting or an earlier one. Early. Okay, so I'm afraid we will vote against just because that's what my panel members want. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any more speakers? Okay, so we vote on the amendment. All members have a vote. All those in favour?
This is the amendment, members, from Councillor Wilson, seconded by Councillor Humphrey. That the community scrutiny panel timing be moved from 2 PM to 5 PM. Just the amendment.
Okay, all those in favour? Against?
Madam Mayor, members, the vote was 17 for, 21 against. The amendment failed, so we now revert to the substantive motion, if you will, which is merely to accept the timetable.
Can I take a vote on accepting the timetable? Yes? Okay, all those in favour? Against? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 8, committee and panel membership. A report setting out proposed appointments to the council's committees and panels for the municipal year 26-27. Prior to dealing with the appointments of chairs of each panel and committee, I will ask the leader of the council to propose recommendations 1 and 2 as set out in the report.
I rise to do so, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder?
Madam Mayor, I second.
Thank you. Any speakers? Okay. Councillor Bright?
Sorry, forgive the interruption. Councillor Freeston, do you have your appointments to the Health and Wellbeing Board to put to the chamber?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, that is Councillor Freeston, Councillor Grice and Councillor Nigel Oliver.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. We have a speaker just then for item 8, I think it was. Oh, Councillor Bright, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As elected councillors, one of the most important things we do is serve on scrutiny panels. Effective scrutiny is the critical check and balance that ensures any decisions we make are robust, transparent, and most importantly, focused on the outcomes for our residents. Councillor Bonner is an experienced councillor and for the last 2 years has served on the community's scrutiny panel. Prior to that, he spent a 4-year period on the community scrutiny panel, including 2 years as chair. He has the specialised knowledge and experience that is vital to effective scrutiny. Under the strict interpretation of proportionality after the recent elections, that experience would be lost to the scrutiny panel. The Reform Group has recognised they have a lot of new and as yet inexperienced councillors in their group. They also recognise that good scrutiny is more important than party numbers on committees and have taken the very rare step to voluntarily give up one of their allocated seats to ensure that an experienced voice remains at the heart of our scrutiny process. Some may call this a deal, but if I was in Councillor Freeston's position, inviting more scrutiny at the expense of my own people wouldn't be a very good deal. Section 17 of the Local Government and Housing Act exists for exactly this reason, to allow for sensible, pragmatic arrangements when the needs of the council dictate, such as they are now. The residents of North East Lincolnshire demand effective scrutiny, and a vote for this will ensure that happens. If we block this today, we are actively choosing to weaken the very companies meant to hold the decision makers to account. We will be telling the public that we care more about politics than we do about having the best, most experienced people in the room. We often talk in this chamber about putting what's best for the borough first. Well, this is a test of that commitment. I'm not asking any member to compromise their political principles today. If you believe that the quality of our scrutiny matters more than the colour of a rosette, then you have no reason to vote against this arrangement. I invite you to support this, or at the very least, to abstain rather than oppose it. By doing this, you'll be letting the public know you value effective scrutiny over partisan politics. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any further speakers?
Madam Mayor, I think you need a seconder to that, actually. That proposal.
I think we took a seconder.
Okay, as long as that one was included.
Yeah, one or two.
Yes. Okay.
But I do rise to speak, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
I just wish to second and agree what Councillor Bright has said. This.
Sorry, Councillor Tweed, you've already proposed this.
I can't speak on it. Okay.
So, because I've no further speakers as far as I can tell, is that correct? No further speakers. So I'm going to go for the right to reply to Councillor Freeston. Thank you.
We'll just move to the vote, Madam Mayor.
Sorry?
We'll just move to the vote.
Thank you. So we'll move to the vote, and I'm going to ask the monitoring officer to advise on the voting requirements for this proposal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, this is a variation of proportionality in effect, which is permitted by statute. But statute is clear that there can be no dissent for this matter to go through. So we'll vote on that basis. Thank you.
All those in favour? Anyone against?
Madam Mayor, the recommendations 1 and 2 were proposed and seconded. Recommendation 1 was on the basis of no dissent. That's not been the case. Recommendation 2 is fine, but both are taken on simple majority. Well, recommendation 2 is taken on a simple majority. So recommendation 2 is passed.
Thank you. So I now propose to deal with the appointment of chairs of each panel and committee in the order as set out in the papers circulated and take the vote on each one. Chair of Community Panel, Community Scrutiny Panel. 2 nominations have been received, one for Councillor Clough and the other for Councillor Hudson. For Councillor Clough, do I have a proposer and seconder?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I rise to propose Councillor Clough.
Thank you.
And I rise to second, Councillor Clough.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Sorry. Councillor Humphrey. So for Councillor Hudson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Hudson, Madam Mayor. I rise to second Councillor Hudson, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So a vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Clough? And all of those, sorry, counting. Okay, all those in favour of Councillor Hudson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A vote of 29-9. The chair goes to Councillor Clough.
Thank you. Deputy Chair of the Community Scrutiny Panel, the 2 nominations have been received for Councillor Swinburne and Councillor Wilson. For Councillor Swinburne, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Swinburne, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I rise to second Councillor Swinburne.
Thank you. And for Councillor Wilson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Wilson, Mayor.
Thank you.
I rise to second, Councillor Wilson, Madam Mayor.
So a vote will be taken on each nomination and members will only be allowed one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Swinburne? Okay, all of those in favour of Councillor Wilson? Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The vote is 11 for Swinburne, 29 for Wilson. The chair, sorry, Deputy Chair goes to Wilson. Thank you.
Chair of the Children and Lifelong Learning Scrutiny Panel. 2 nominations have been received, one for Councillor Downs and the other for Councillor Shreve. For Councillor Downs, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Downs.
Thank you.
I rise to second Councillor Downs.
Thank you very much. And for Councillor Shreve, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Shreve, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I rise to second Councillor Shreve, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So a vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will only have one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Downs? All those in favour of councillor Shreve?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, votes in favour of councillor Downs, 27. In favour of councillor Shreve, 12. Chair goes to councillor Downs.
Thank you. The Deputy Chair of the Children and Lifelong Learning Scrutiny Panel, we have 3 nominations, but as councillor Downs has now been given the chair, we'll take that one out. So we have councillor Goodwin. Do I have a proposer and seconder for Deputy of the Children's?
I rise to propose councillor Goodwin. Thank you.
Thank you.
I rise to second.
Thank you. And for councillor Lindley, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose councillor Lindley, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I rise to second councillor Lindley, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. So a vote will be taken on each nomination. Members will have only one vote. All those in favour of councillor Goodwin? All those in favour of councillor Lindley?
Madam Mayor, members, the vote was 31 for councillor Goodwin, 8 for councillor Lindley. The seat goes to councillor Goodwin.
Thank you. Chair of Economy, Culture and Tourism Scrutiny Panel. 2 nominations have been received, one from councillor Dawkins and the other from councillor Morland. For councillor Dawkins, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I propose councillor Dawkins. Second, councillor Dawkins.
Thank you. And for councillor Morland?
Propose councillor Morland.
I'll second councillor Morland.
Thank you very much. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only one vote. All those in favour of councillor Dawkins? Thank you. And all those in favour of councillor Morland?
Madam Mayor, members, the vote cast were councillor Dawkins, 15, councillor Morland, 24. Chair goes to councillor Morland.
Thank you. We're now moving on to the Deputy Chair of the Economy, Culture and Tourism Scrutiny Panel. 2 nominations have been received. One from I've got 3 names here. The councillor Morland, yeah. Sorry, there's a repetition on my script. I'm sorry about this. So one from councillor Henderson and the other from councillor Parkinson. So do I have a proposer and seconder for councillor Henderson?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I rise to propose councillor Henderson. Thank you.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I rise to second councillor Henderson.
Thank you. And for councillor Parkinson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose councillor Parkinson, Madam Mayor. I rise to second councillor Parkinson, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will only have one vote. All those in favour of councillor Henderson? All those in favour of councillor Parkinson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members in favour of Councillor Henderson, 28. In favour of Councillor Parkinson, 10. The seat goes to Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. Chair of Health and Adult Social Care Scrutiny Panel, 3 nominations have been received for Councillor Henderson, Councillor Lindley and Councillor Wilson. For Councillor Henderson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder?
I rise to second Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. For Councillor Lindley, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Lindley.
I rise to second Councillor Lindley.
And for Councillor Wilson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Wilson.
I rise to second Councillor Wilson. Thank you.
So a vote will be taken on each nomination. Members will have only one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Henderson? All those in favour of Councillor Lindley? And all those in favour of Councillor Wilson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes cast for Councillor Henderson, 5. For Councillor Lindley, 10. For Councillor Wilson, 24. The seat goes to Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. So for the Deputy Chair of the Health and Adult Social Care Scrutiny Panel, I have had 3 nominations: Councillor Henderson, Councillor Kasmarak and Councillor Shreve. For Councillor Henderson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose. Sorry.
For Councillor Henderson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I rise to second Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. And for Councillor Kasmarak, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Kasmarek.
I rise to second Councillor Kasmarek.
Thank you. And for Councillor Shreve, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Shreve.
I rise to second Councillor Shreve.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination. Members will only have one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Henderson? All those in favour of Councillor Kasmarak? And all those in favour of Councillor Shreve?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes cast for Councillor Henderson, 16. Councillor Kasmarek, 10. Councillor Shreve, 11. The seat goes to Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. Chair of the Transport, Infrastructure and Housing Scrutiny Panel, we've received 2 nominations, one for Councillor Jackson and one for Councillor Mill.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I tried to catch your attention.
Sorry.
I abstain on the last vote.
I'm sorry about that. We'll make
Recording,
it.
please. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got one for Councillor Jackson, one for Councillor Mill for Transport, Infrastructure and Housing Scrutiny, and it's the chair. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will only have one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Jackson? Sorry, I need proposers and seconders for that. So for Councillor Jackson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I propose Councillor Jackson.
Thank you.
I rise to second Councillor Jackson.
Thank you. And for Councillor Mill, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Mill.
I rise to second Councillor Mill.
Thank you. So, as I said, a vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order and members will have only one vote. All of those in favour of Councillor Jackson. And all of those in favour of Councillor Mill. Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes cast in favour of Councillor Jackson, 11. In favour of Councillor Mill, 26. Chair goes to Councillor Mill.
Councillor Wilson.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to withdraw from being Deputy Chair of the Tisch Scrutiny Panel.
So I believe I only have one nomination for the Chair of Transport Infrastructure, sorry, the Deputy Chair of Transport Infrastructure and Housing, following Councillor Wilson's withdrawal, which leaves us with Councillor Croft. Do I have a proposer and seconder?
I'll propose, Madam Mayor, probably the only vote we'll win tonight, but I will propose. I'll second Councillor Croft, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So I think we take that as read then. So Councillor Croft is appointed. Thank you. So the Chair of Planning Committee, 2 nominations have been received, one for Councillor Lindley and the other for Councillor Patrick. For Councillor Lindley, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Lindley. I rise to second Councillor Lindley.
And for Councillor Patrick, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Patrick.
I rise to second Councillor Patrick.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Lindley. And all those in favour of Councillor Patrick.
Madam Mayor, members, the votes cast in favour of Councillor Lindley, 11. In favour of Councillor Patrick, 27. Chair goes to Councillor Patrick.
Members, I know we're quite far down the list and I've no wish to delay things, but can you make sure that when you're showing your hands, you really are showing your hands? And if you're not voting, Madam Mayor, we need to ask if there are any abstentions. Okay, thank you.
Deputy Chair of the Planning Committee, 2 nominations have been received.
Order, Madam Mayor, can you record my abstention, please?
Which one was it for?
The Chairman of the Planning Committee.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Deputy Chair of the Planning Committee, 2 nominations have been received, one from Councillor Goodwin and the other from Councillor Hudson. For Councillor Goodwin, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I propose Councillor Goodwin.
I rise to second Councillor Goodwin.
Thank you. And for Councillor Hudson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Hudson. I rise to second Councillor Hudson.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination. Members will have only one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Goodwin. And all of those in favour of Councillor Hudson. Are there any abstentions? No.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes cast in favour of Councillor Goodwin, 27. for Councillor Hudson, 12. Deputy Chair to Councillor Goodwin.
The Chair of the Standards and Adjudication Committee, 2 nominations have been received, one for Councillor Humphrey, the other for Councillor Swinburne. For Councillor Humphrey, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Humphrey.
Thank you.
I rise to second Councillor Humphrey.
Thank you. And for Councillor Swinburne, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Swinburne.
I rise to second Councillor Swinburne.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only one vote. All of those in favour of Councillor Humphrey. And all of those in favour of Councillor Swinburne. Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes cast in favour of Councillor Humphrey, 27. Councillor Swinburne, 11. 1 abstention. The chair goes to Councillor Humphrey.
Thank you. The Deputy Chair of the Standards and Adjudication Committee, 2 nominations have been received, one for Councillor Crofts and the other for Councillor Goodwin. For Councillor Crofts, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Crofts.
I rise to second Councillor Croft.
And for Councillor Goodwin, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Goodwin.
I rise to second Councillor Goodwin.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination.
Madam Mayor, may I rise to make a nomination from the floor? I'd like to nominate Councillor Russell as Deputy Chair.
Do you have a seconder, Councillor Freeston?
I rise second.
Thank you. So we'll take them in alphabetical order. All those in favour of Councillor Crofts. All those in favour of Councillor Goodwin. And all those in favour of Councillor Russell. Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes cast in favour of Councillor Crofts, 12. Councillor Goodwin, 13. Councillor Russell, 13. There was 1 abstention. Madam Mayor, you do have a casting vote.
Okay, I'd like to vote for Councillor Goodwin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In that case, the seat goes to Councillor Goodwin. Thank you.
Chair of the Appointments Committee, 2 nominations have been received, one for Councillor Freeston and the other for Councillor Jackson. For Councillor Freeston, do I have a proposer and seconder?
Madam Mayor, I rise to propose Councillor Freeston.
I second that.
Thank you. And do I have a proposer and seconder for Councillor Jackson?
I rise to propose Councillor Jackson.
I rise to second Councillor Jackson.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only one vote. All those in favour of Councillor Freeston. And all those in favour of councillor Jackson? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes were cast in favour of Councillor Prieston, 29, Councillor, excuse me, Councillor Jackson, 10. Chair of the Appointments Committee, Councillor Prieston.
Thank you. Deputy Chair of the Appointments Committee, 2 nominations have been received, one for councillor Grice and the other for councillor Shreve. For councillor Grice, do I have a proposer and seconder?
Madam Mayor, I rise to propose councillor Grice.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I rise to
Second.
sorry. Councillor Craig.
Thank you. And for councillor Shreve, do I have a proposer and seconder?
Rise to propose councillor Shreve.
I rise to second councillor Shreve.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination. Members will only have one vote. All those in favour of councillor Grice? All those in favour of councillor Shreve? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes were cast in favour of Councillor Grice, 26, for Councillor Shreve, 13. Deputy Chair to Councillor Grice.
The Chair of the Audit and Governance Committee, I propose that Mr Paul Stone is appointed as the independent Chair of the Audit and Governance Committee. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour?
To explain, members, Mr Stone is our independent Chair of Audit and was appointed last year, just for your information.
Thank you. Anyone against? The Deputy Chair of the Audit and Governance Committee, 2 nominations have been received, one for myself, Councillor Boyd, and the other for Councillor Kasmarak. For Councillor Boyd, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I propose you, Madam Deputy Mayor, Madam Mayor, sorry.
Thank you.
I second you, Madam Mayor, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'm still practicing. So for Councillor Kasmarak, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose councillor Kasmarak. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll rise to second councillor Kasmarek.
Thank you. So a vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will only have one vote. All those in favour of councillor Boyd? And all those in favour of councillor Kasmarek? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, votes cast in favour of Councillor Boyd, 14. In favour of Councillor Kasmarek, 23. There was 1 abstention. Deputy Chair to Councillor Kasmarek.
Thank you. Chair of the Licensing and Community Protection Committee, 1 nomination has been received for Councillor Augusta. Do I have a proposer and seconder? All those in favour? Sorry.
I propose councillor
I
Augusta.
thought because it was just 1 nomination.
Who's going so well? I rise to second councillor Augustus.
Anyone against? All in favour first. You. Were there anyone against? No. Okay, very good. Deputy Chair of the Licensing and Community Protection Committee, one nomination has been received for Councillor Haggis. Do I have a proposer and seconder?
I propose Councillor Haggis.
I rise to second councillor Haggis.
Thank you. All those in favour? Anyone against? That appointment was clearly carried. So now we're on to item 9.
Bear with us, members, just a small item of admin.
If gentlemen would like to remove their jackets, and ladies also, then you're very welcome to do so because it's very warm in here tonight. Thank you. Okay.
Madam Mayor, members, Councillor Freeston, because of the failure of the recommendation in the report to appoint to committees of the variation in proportionality, there is a vacant reform seat on that community scrutiny panel. Do you wish to make a nomination so we can deal with it without coming back?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I make another nomination from outside of the group and hope that they will? Why can't I do that with support of full council?
If there's no dissent on the same basis as before.
So it's going to be a new nomination.
But you will only get one chance at this.
What happens if then nobody's elected to it, if it's dissented again?
And it just remains vacant.
Well,
you need to, it falls to reform to fill that vacancy.
All I'm going to say to group leaders then is my point still stands that I think it should go to a member of the opposition because we can fill it with a body, but it doesn't mean that the job of scrutiny is going to get done well because they're already quite overworked. So if group leaders either want to take a 2-minute adjournment and agree, you can have the seat. But there's no point of me going back against the ethos of what I originally nominated and supported Councillor Bonner on. I would implore us all just get round now and support Councillor Bonner, but if you're going to be awkward, I'm willing to let one of the Tories have it, Labour, or even the Lib Dems.
Okay, members, can you just give us 5 minutes? Let's just have a quick adjournment for 5 minutes. Let's just talk this through before we rush to vote. Okay, so let's have a 5-minute adjournment.
Please be upstanding to receive the worshipful, the Mayor of the Borough of North East Lincolnshire, Councillor Marion Boyd, and the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Robson Augusta.
Please be seated.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, sorry for the interruption. I understand, Councillor Freeston, you're now in a position to nominate a reform member to the vacant seat on the Community Scrutiny Panel.
I propose Councillor Russell.
Seconder.
Um,
Thank you. Favour?
To appoint Councillor Russell to a reform seat on the Community Scrutiny Panel.
Thank you very much. Anyone against? So we're moving on now to representation of outside bodies.
Madam Mayor, I believe you need a substitute.
You can just appoint your substitute, Councillor Freeston, who
I appoint Councillor Ingrid Oliver.
Okay, so item 9, representation on outside bodies. The paper circulated with nominations to the council's outside bodies in 3 parts. Part 1 relates to titled portfolio holder chair appointments with names to be agreed in consultation with the leader of the council based on his cabinet appointments, as well as chair appointments made earlier. I propose that these be moved en bloc, noting and agreeing the removal of those marked as no longer requiring elected members' representation. Do I have a seconder?
I second that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour? That's clearly carried. Thank you. Anyone against? No. So part 2 relates to non-titled unopposed nominations. Are there any further nominations for any of these bodies? I propose that the nominations set out in part 2 be moved en bloc. Do I have a seconder?
Rice to second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour? It's clearly carried. Anyone against? Thank you. So part 3 relates to non-titled appointments for which we have contested nominations. I now propose to deal with each contested body and take a vote on the nominations received. Age UK, North East Lincolnshire. We have 1 place. 3 nominations have been received for councillors Charlesworth, Dawkins and Haggis. For Councillor Charlesworth, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Charlesworth, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And seconder?
I rise to second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. For Councillor Dawkins, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Dawkins.
I rise to second, Councillor Dawkins.
Thank you. And for Councillor Haggis, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Haggis.
I rise to second, Councillor Haggis.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only 1 vote. All those in favour of Councillor Charlesworth? All those in favour of Councillor Dawkins? All those in favour of Councillor Haggis? Any abstentions? No.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, the votes cast in favour of Councillor Charlesworth, 13. Councillor Dawkins, 13. Councillor Haggis, 12. Madam Mayor, as before, we have a tie and you have a casting vote.
Thank you. I'll vote for Councillor Dawkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and Councillor Dawkins is appointed.
Beacon Academy, 1 place, 2 nominations have been received for Councillors Grice and Morland. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only 1 vote. For Councillor Grice, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Grice, Madam Mayor.
And a seconder?
Yeah, I rise to second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And for Councillor Morland, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Morland, Madam Mayor.
I rise to second, Councillor Morland, Madam Mayor.
So a vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only 1 vote. For Councillor Grice, those in favour? Okay, thank you. And for all those in favour of Councillor Morland? Any abstentions? No.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, votes cast in favour of Councillor Grice, 17. For Councillor Morland, 22. Place goes to Councillor Morland.
Thank you. Local Authority Governor, Oasis Academy, Immingham, 1 place, 2 nominations have been received for Councillors Russell and Swinburne. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only 1 vote. For Councillor Russell, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Russell, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I rise to second Councillor Russell.
Thank you. And for Councillor Swinburne, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Swinburne.
I rise to second, Councillor Swinburne.
Thank you very much. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only 1 vote. All those in favour of Councillor Russell? All those in favour of Councillor Swinburne? Any abstentions? 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, votes cast in favour of Councillor Russell, 13. Councillor Swinburne, 21. 2 abstentions. Place goes to Councillor Swinburne.
Thank you. The NHS Foundation Trust, Council of Governors, 1 place, 2 nominations have been received from Councillors Kasmarak and Oliver N. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only 1 vote. For Councillor Kasmarak, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Kasmarek, Madam Mayor.
I rise to second, Councillor Kasmarek, Madam Mayor.
And for Councillor Oliver, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Oliver.
Thank you. And a seconder?
I rise to second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only 1 vote. All of those in favour of Councillor Kasmarek? And all of those in favour of Oliver N? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, votes in favour of Councillor Kazmarek, 19, for Councillor Oliver, N, 20. Place goes to Councillor Oliver.
Thank you. North Eastern Inshore Fisheries and Conservation Authority. Before we go any further, I just want to draw the monitoring officer's attention to the fact we're getting near 9:30.
I think with the fair wind, Madam Mayor, we can make it.
Okay, we keep going. Is everybody happy with that? All those in favour, sorry. Northeastern Inshore Fisheries and Conservation Authority, one place, two nominations have been received for Councillors Parkinson and Patrick. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only one vote. For Councillor Parkinson, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Parkinson.
I rise to second Councillor Parkinson.
Thank you. And for Councillor Patrick, do I have a proposer and seconder?
I rise to propose Councillor Patrick, Madam Mayor.
Rise to second Councillor Patrick, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. A vote will be taken on each nomination in alphabetical order. Members will have only one vote. All of those in favour of Councillor Parkinson. And in favour of Councillor Patrick. Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, votes cast in favour of Councillor Parkinson, 12, Councillor Patrick, 27, no abstentions. Place goes to Councillor Patrick.
Thank you. Town and Parish Council Liaison Committee, 6 places, 8 nominations have been received for Councillors Crofts.
Madam Mayor, could I withdraw my name, please? I'm already on it for Stallingborough Parish Council.
Thank you. So we now have 7 nominations from Councillors Dawkins.
Madam Mayor, just for ease, I stand to withdraw Councillor Sawkins.
Thank you. So we've got 6 nominations now for 6 places. Yes, if we propose and second on block, that might make it easier. Can I
propose we move it on block, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour? Or seconded?
I'll second that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. We're down to item 10, urgent business. There is no urgent business for consideration at this meeting, and that concludes the business for this annual general meeting, and I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much.